That was, Helge, the last picture you showed in your presentation with this old man sitting on the bench, looking at those two mobile phones on the ground. Stunning. Fraud is certainly an issue. I just wanted to share with you that every morning on Monday, every week, we have something we call a radar. It's a stand-up with 200 employees. Every Monday, we talk about fraud and the situation related to SMS, voice, messaging, whatever. And we share the experience internally in the company to do the learning and to try to protect. So please start to talk about privacy, security, fraud issues. Don't hide it. Talk about it when you see it. This is direct carrier billing, and we wanted to talk about how Norwegian technology could actually be brought out from Norway to serve MNOs globally. We recently went into a global agreement with Google, where they appreciate the technology developed by Telenor, and we are supposed to help them with migrating 200 MNOs globally to a new tech platform. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about how this is happening and why. So I ended my presentation with this picture some hours ago, and I said, surrounded by customers and partners, and I said, what is behind? And let me just go through it. This is how we do it in Telenor with regards to direct carrier billing and many other services. We have our Telenor business units, which is our customers in Telenor Linx. They come to us, or they have been mandated to go to us, and we deliver services. On top of the Telenor business units, they expose different kind of APIs towards us. That could be the charging and billing APIs. It could be connection APIs, CRM APIs, or network APIs capabilities. Building blocks to create services. In Telenor Linx, during the years, we have built a solid company, which is and having all those common capabilities that you need to deliver a product. So when we take the common capabilities together with the API exposures that we are getting from the MNOs, we start to build a product layer. And in the product layer in Telenor Linx, we have international communication, we have sales platforms, and we have something we call account security. So we are not exposing the APIs directly, we are actually building business logic into each one service, and we call it product and platforms. On top of that, yes, of course, we are connecting to the ecosystem players and delivering that to everything from other telcos to hyperscalers to OTTs and digital ecosystem. What happened with Google was that we walked into a partnership with Google back in 2012. And we launched direct carrier billing as one of the first MNOs globally in Telenor Sweden in November 2012. And since then, we have built step by step a DCB platform built for telcos by telcos. And related to fraud, that is important because we have taken control over our own technology. We have taken control over the service and platform. We want to protect our subscribers from misusing the billing capability to buy too much services. But at the same time, we want to be part of that opportunity to earn money from content on top of connectivity. So you see in the green part of this is direct carrier billing. And the Google agreement that we went into, external MNOs, is suddenly an export of what we have innovated internally in Telenor, enabling us to create growth outside of our own MNOs. We wanted to share this because it's an inspiration, I think, for many MNOs to think about how can you actually develop services. And many of these components that we use in the direct carrier billing part is actually common components. It's not about competing with each other. It's about delivering a secure service and enabling us as an industry to monetize alongside with other alternative payment methods. We are not the best payment service. Never said that. We'll never be that. But our payment service is a service which is available and enable us to cut part of those transactions that are on top of our connectivity, which is then extra revenue for us. So this is the story behind how we are building business. Inside the carrier billing platform, I will fast track a little bit. There's a lot of components. We can talk about those if you are interested. But of course, I said built for telcos by telcos. We have something we call product advisory board when we talk to telcos. We bring them together. We build a common roadmap. We listen to Malaysia. We listen to Thailand. We listen to Sweden. And we share that roadmap. And we create better security and better surroundings around the product. So the Google agreement that enabled this is actually that Google is moving away in the Google Play Store, which is one of the most attractive Play stores, app stores in the world. And they said, we want to have certain integrators globally to support us on this migration when we move from an old tech legacy platform to a new one. And we want to change. We don't want to integrate direct with any of the MNOs. We want the integrators to do it. And by the way, we also want the money flow to flow from the subscriber to the MNO, from the MNO to the integrator and to Google. So there's several aspects of this. But the consequence is that it's Telenor Linx, it's Boku, and it's Bango, which are then supposed to do this job on behalf of Google during the next coming years, migrating this, and it's a business opportunity for us. Why is Google important? And I camouflaged some of the details on this slide. But you can see the blue piece and the red piece here. That's actually two large global app stores, right? Contributing of the business related to direct carrier billing globally. If you are in a prepaid market with high Android penetration, one of the pies are bigger and one of the pies are smaller. But this is the blended part across close to 20 MNOs globally with several hundred million subscribers behind. And you also see that the rule of 80-20, maybe not there, but the long tail of partners, it's not that relevant. Because the first distribution choice you have, if you have some content to sell, you always go in and you place it in the Google Play Store and you place it in the App Store, and then you start to discuss how should I distribute it from my own point of view. So also, is really direct carrier billing relevant? Yes, it is. We had 40% year-over-year growth last year. And the growth is not necessarily coming from our own MNOs, but it's coming from our position of making a business out of this, rather than providing it as an internal service to our own business units. Looking at some Nordic players that we have deep insight into, you also see that from 2018 to 2024, you see that there is a steady pace, growth, or also something that seems to decline. But what you see on the yellow part is actually a fraudulent activity that we corrected, and we brought it back to growth after we corrected it. So this is quite interesting. This is a countries where you have 100% availability of digital payment services down to the age of 16. It's still being used, and it's still money for us as an MNO. So that's the end of this presentation, and then we were supposed to have some questions regarding direct carrier billing, I think.
Yeah, sure. So why, Helge, did Google choose Telenor Linx? Why were you guys special?
No, I think why we're special, those three integrators, I would say that born out of telco, built for telco, is a key component. Listening to the last panel you had, talking about fraud, also those key elements that are important for us as telcos to protect and take care of is something that we know, and that's our heart. When we look at our competitors related to this migration of services, they're great companies, obviously, but they like to maximize the number of sales on behalf of the merchant, right? That's where they are harvesting the money. We are not harvesting the money with maximizing the sales because that will hamper our relationship with our subscribers. We will balance it out and do this in a clean way and secure the future of DCB for years to come as a revenue source for the MNOs.
If I can add to that, also showing that we've been working with Google for since 2012 with Google Play integration. So they knew us, and we had a good track record for the integration we have done. So we have integrated all Telenor operators except from a few. So they're quite happy with working with us.
Good.
Already.
Good to hear. I think it's interesting to hear that it kind of came from within the industry, and it's quite rare sometimes as well to hear that from some of the services that we run and some of the innovations that have come as well. So refreshing. Rune, just what I see there is there's a number of obviously operators that are connected in. So what are some of the challenges that you've faced there? Because I think we can probably relate that to other areas, maybe like integrating RCS across different regions and things.
Yeah. I think most of the operators we're working with have experience with payment and these, so they have the capabilities, but they of course are different. They provide different APIs, so that's a challenge. But I think it's a manageable challenge because we have a good team of people who understand APIs and how to integrate. I think actually one of the main challenges we have is actually getting access to the right resources and the MNOs, because IT resources or technical resources in the MNOs are scarce and difficult to get hold of, and also to prioritize those integration projects is challenging.
I usually see like 5-year roadmaps at telcos. Trying to get into that's difficult, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier on, Helge, that there was some fraudulent issue. Now, my experience is working with premium rate services, carrier billing. It does come with some element of let's say nefarious actors, fraud, whatever we might call it. How do you catch that? How do you see that in your network?
That's a good question, right? And to make it short and easy, right? Also, we have focused on taking responsibility on where the checkout is happening, right? So the customer has a journey when they go digital and try to purchase some content. And while we are asking our merchants to have the checkout with us, we are on the full control of the checkout part, and that's tremendously important. Then we have built-in limits, which is up upon the MNO to choose number of purchases, how active are the subscribers allowed to use, spend limits, and also pattern recognition related to if the pulse is coming regularly with regularly purchases or trying to purchase, we are blocking it. Mm-hmm. So it's not developed as this. It's developed through experience, and it's also developed through experience from sophisticated markets like the Nordics. And wrong to say, not sophisticated, but low RPU countries with a lot of subscribers, right, approaching the platform. And throughout that learning, we have adopted technology and measurements that safeguard the journey of the customer.
And is this all in-house with Telenor Linx, or do you have third-party applications that monitor or feed into what you're doing?
So the DCB platform is in-house developed, and we have a team of developers who have full control of our code. But we are also working closely with the MNOs, so they have customer care departments. If they see an increasing number of complaints on a certain service, we are able to react on that and stop those. In some countries, we also have some of the operators have selected fraud prevention applications like MCP, Avina, and Pella, and those. And we are also able to integrate with their solutions so we can cooperate with them and use their functionality as well, if the operator has chosen to do so. So in addition to what we already have.
Why I think that's important, because we talked a lot about messaging, RCS, which is, I know it's been running for 13 years, but it still feels to me like it's a small child. It's on its path to growing now, with iOS coming on board and everything. So I think it's interesting to hear with a more mature product like DCB that it's still essential for certain elements of it to integrate with third parties as well, which again is what hopefully people have seen a bit of today.
Yeah.
Now, because it has been around for a while, in certain use cases, it's declining. There's been, some issues in certain regions with certain services over the top of it. It's been cut, it's been stopped. So what does the future hold for DCB? Maybe beyond the Google Play.
This is interesting, Nick, because this is the same melody as you sitting in that chair 10 years ago and talking about SMS A2P, right? It's a declining product. RCS is coming. Everything will go on iOS. The DCB has a future. It's a capability which enable the operator to charge for content and services and maybe also physical goods on their relationship with their customers. So what we are also exploring right now is heavily investing into bundling capabilities to the platform, but bundling as well utilize the APIs of the charging and billing APIs, right, on the bottom layer of that architecture slide. So I think that there is situation, right? Australia, they shut down DCB. You don't find it in the US. But you also have the opposite stories, right? Where there's still a need and there's still growth. And even in countries like this, it's a beautiful way to create payment. And I expect as well, since RCS and RBM has been on the topic here, that you will see small charges inside of RBM done on the operator part, where you see RBM and DCB in a combination, which is going to be as well interesting for us.
Yeah, so I just a kind of a segue to that was we launched in the UK, I'm going back maybe 6 years now, we launched the first RCS campaign, and inside that it was with Oxfam, the charity business, and you could donate within there, and it was the mechanism was all through DCB, where you could donate £5, £10, £20, and the engagement and the incremental acceptance to donate, because you could have a video in there that was playing, it was very engaging, was something like 300 times more than an email or a text message. The problem was the reach, which is why it kind of didn't continue. But certainly, I think it's particularly interesting is in adopting payment services into these other channels, and I see DCB being a key one in there.
Yeah, and you're already identified one-to-one in the RBM channel, right? And you can utilize DCB as a read this article, and you all have been locked out of articles, right? You just click, charge on my phone bill. A small charge to the phone bill, and then you share that with the newspaper and the editor, and they are happy. Yeah. And you don't get the friction with the user for not getting access to the service.
Indeed. So we're running close up to time. I want to give you, the audience, just an opportunity to ask any questions around this subject, or maybe how this subject relates to any other topics that you've heard today. Any final questions? I knew we'd thrown it a bit left field with DCB, but I thought it's a very
but
good topic.
I hope that this is not only DCB, right? Also, I wanted to share a little bit about our thinking, right? And the thinking is how we create value. And of course, we have aggregators as partners, but sometimes when the fraudulent activity gets too high, we need to take measurements and to secure a product. It's possible actually to do it ourselves within the industry and take that forward. Yeah. And I think DCB here is one example of a success story, which at least we hope that will continue to grow and be a success for us.
Indeed. Was there any questions? I didn't see any hands. Rune, any final words from you?
In the meeting yesterday, we get questions from other people like, what's the future and so on. But I just think it's quite interesting to see from even the Norwegian market where people have 2-3 credit cards, we still see there's a growth in DCB. That people prefer to pay on the mobile using their phone bill because they trust the operator and it's simple and secure. So even in the Nordic and the European markets, there is a use for it.
Good to hear.
Okay.
Self, Helge?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I hope you have enjoyed Oslo and Fornebu.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Thank you.